Oh, I gotta reach over here. Oh, the beginning of the show. What's up, Internet people? It's Friday, I believe, which, as you can see over here, we've got some of the Patreon stuff. We're going to go through the Patreon posts in just a minute. I forgot to turn that like that. Yeah, there we go. What's up, everybody? Hopefully you're having a good time out there, fully quarantined, getting weird, doing your weird quarantine schedule, whatever it is that is supposed to be going on. Somebody says hit the like button. Guppy Guru says hit the like button. Yeah, be sure to hit the like button. We're supposed to do that, right? That's the one thing that's super easy, super free, and you just push the button. You just smush it with your finger, right? So that's an easy thing to do. It's Friday, which means it's Friday, right? How's everybody doing out there? I think it's Friday as far as I could tell. As far as I know, it's Friday. I don't know. It's hard to say at this point in time. Every single day has been Groundhog's Day out here. I don't know about you guys. I don't know what y'all are up to, but Vicky and I, we had to bring all of our work is here. All of our work is at the house. All of our work is here at the house, and we're definitely having this like Groundhog's Day type thing going on around here where we're having the same day over and over and over again. The only thing that seems to be slightly different is that Olivia gets like 1 day older every day. So, we got that going for us, which is good. But, yeah, it's the monotony of it is beginning to get a little bit weird because the other day we went to we had to make some changes to our will and testament. Seemed like a good idea when there's like a pandemic going on to make sure that your will is filled out properly and filed with the proper attorneys, right? We literally went out, masked up, gloved up, got out there, drove to the lawyer's office, went in one at a time, lathering up with hand sanitizer and all that constantly, not shaking anybody's hands, doing all that. And it legit was like the most exciting thing that we've probably done this week. Now, we've done a ton of stuff. We just haven't gone anywhere. I'm kind of gaining a slight appreciation again for just leaving the house, just to leave the house, right? And be like, man, there's got to be some kind of errand I should have to run. Like, no, not really. Yep, I guess we're going for a walk again, which is great. I love going on a walk with the family, but it's getting a little bit squirrely out here with the we take Olivia with us, which means we can't go all that far, but it's like, we can walk to this, like one of the few things that's still open is like a cemetery that's near us, which is great. We could walk that far and then walk back pretty much. But, yeah, it's kind of one of those things that's a little bit weird. Having to just try and do anything during this pandemic is a little bit odd. But let's say what's up to a couple people in the chat, because that's one of the things I do around here. And people watching this later, you might be super irritated that I'm saying hi to people, but hey, that's how it goes. Dave's Aquariums, Bentley, Pascal, D, Tracy, Alyssa Bentley, Big D, Smoke, Jay's Crazy Obsession, Tia, Marianne, Flickabook, Frank Dominguez, Jessica Taylor, G Bear, Rick Hab Harris, Jessica Taylor, Keith Hanshaw, Michael Allen, He's in 2 chats at the moment. Bulk Reef Supply had a thing today. Uh-oh. Oh, I saw it. Yeah. Bulk Reef Supply is doing a $10,000 shopping spree contest thing. I don't know. Sounds cool, man. If you get 10 grand to spend at Bulk Reef Supply, I'd spend, if I had free $10,000 to spend at Bulk Reef Supply, I would not be disappointed. That'd be fun. I've never won anything like that, so I'm not really sure what that's like. I hope you win. Fingers crossed that you win. So yeah, that's what's going on. Hey all, it's good to see everyone for the stream. Yep. Let's catch up with some of this chat. I'm scrolling. People said there may be audio mic issues. No, I don't have audio mic issues today. Probably. But I'm doing the best I can here, guys. Come on now. It's just me. It's just me trying to do all the stuff, and it's getting tired. Bentley says Bulk Reef Supply is giving away several $500 to $600 carts. Oh, okay. That's exciting, legit exciting. But I don't know if they're giving away all of the stuff that I'd be like totally excited to get. Like most of the stuff I'd be totally excited to get would be you would have to be that like $10,000 spending spree rage. You know what I mean? I save up all my money, and I put it into these projects. As a matter of fact, I got done with the taxes, and this last year, this YouTube channel made. How much do you think this YouTube channel made? Let's throw a guess. See if people can guess in the chat, and I'll answer a question up here, plant related. We'll see who we get. Johnny Zelaya says, do you have any crypt pink flamingo? Yes, I have cryptocrine pink flamingo I got from the guy who bred it. Who's this dude? I have his hat. I set it on my head. I'm not putting that hat on right now. It smells like a teen spirit. Yes, I have some pink flamingo I got from Stefan Hummel, the guy who originally grew it. It's, the thing is that like pink flamingo is a Wendellii varietal that has just, it's just, what's the word for it? There's a name for it. Let's just, we'll just say that it's a variant, and I'm sure I'll remember what the word is I'm looking for. It's just a Wendellii that grew red. So they propagated that. Then it grew a little bit weirder. Then they grew a whole bunch of those. Then they tissue cultured those, grew them up. Then some of them grew even weirder from there. They tissue cultured those and grew those up. And yeah, so it ended up being pink. So it actually is just a weird variant of Wendellii. So it's not like a weird plant in its own right. It's just there you go. Let's just say a mutation. It's like a mutation. I can't remember the name for it right now, but there's a plant terminology that is escaping my brain parts right now. But yes, it's basically a mutation of Wendellii that causes it to grow pink. Now, what's weird about that is that it does have growing issues because it basically it doesn't want to propagate this bad portion of genetics that it's trying to replicate with it ending up being pink. So it doesn't pick up nutrients properly. It doesn't really propagate properly, technically speaking. Even the giant plant factory we were at, they only had 8 tissue cups from tissue cultures that had grown up at the time when I was there in person. To give you an idea of the cups that they had of regular Wendellii, they had like 3,000 or something crazy like that. Maybe 2,000. So they had 8 versus thousands, right? So that's going to be your biggest problem if you are getting into some of the initial pink flamingo like I have some of the really early cultures, but that, was like 3 years ago that I got that, or 2 years ago or something like that. So over the last couple of years, people have been propagating it and growing it and replicating it, so it is doing a little bit better. There are better varietals out there that you can find, and that's not an indicator of whether or not I think it's a good plant or a bad plant. I think most people are going to run into issues with it, mainly because it's just not garnered very good genetically. Like, it's just not ready to go genetically speaking. And so you put it in too much light, it'll melt and die off. If you put it in not enough light, it just sits there and does nothing. It's not great at picking up fertilizer, that kind of stuff, and replicating itself. It's also not very good at that. But if you can find some that's actually tank raised, some aquacultured, it might be worth getting it. But most companies out there are probably selling that same tissue culture. That most of, I think like Dennerle and Tropica are the ones that are tissue culturing it. And I'm not sure if they're tissue culturing it in the U.S. now, which means they might be, they might actually be tissue culturing it here not in the U.S., but it's North America. They're up in excuse me. They're up in Canada, so they might actually be culturing, basically like some of the next generations. You might be able to get some of that here, but honestly, I think if you're seeing stuff that is really high in price, you're probably not going to be getting that. If I was going to get some pink flamingo, I would find a place that's probably getting the tissue culture from Tropica that's the next generations further down the line, which are kind of showing up in store. Well, I mean, I guess they were showing up in stores before this whole pandemic stuff, so I don't know what's getting shipped out or not these days, but that's what I would be looking for personally. If I was going to buy some, I would find probably the Tropica in North America seems to be the strain of it that's growing pretty well. Other than that, I don't think I would buy any of it. Like, I don't think I would buy any from any other online source or anything like that. That's definitely what I would get. In my world, if I was going to spend money on something, that's what I would do. So that's the advice I could kind of pass on to you. As far as growing conditions, you just kind of want it to be not indirect, super hard. Like, you don't want it to be right in the center of the tank, right under super intense light. Though I have seen a few people have success with that. I personally have not. So, you got to take some advice with a grain of salt. Who knows? Who really, really, really knows? MD Fish Tank says Tropica for the win. Yeah, pretty much. I would love to do some stuff with Tropica. I talked to some of the high-up people. I'm not going to name names. It's goofy. But I talked to some of the high-up people, and they wanted me to come out and film some of the stuff in Vancouver, Canada. And I was like, okay, well, what can we film? Can we film some of the tissue culture stuff? No, we don't really want you to film that. Okay, can we film some of the processing, like how you guys doing the processing, packaging? No, you can't film that. There was a whole bunch of, like, a long list of stuff that I wanted to film. And they basically were like, well, you could film, like, in the greenhouse, but we don't really want you to film like how we're fertilizing or how we're moving water around. You know what I mean? So it was almost like, wow, I'm going to drive all the way up to Vancouver to film. I'm going to spend days doing that. Even if I was just to drive up there, it's going to be 2 days because you got to sleep before you drive back. You got to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, well, that doesn't seem like a very good project for me to go up there and film film just like the greenhouse and be like, I'm here outside, it just seemed like kind of a waste. So I really was hoping to get some kind of plant sponsorship with them or something like that, but it never materialized. So we're literally here sponsored by you guys, the fans, people that watch the show, people that watch the videos, all that kind of stuff. I did realize the other day that, like, Stan had commented on one of my old videos from like 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, 6 years ago. So I don't know, whatever. old videos. I realize I've been on YouTube since 2008, and I'm just so old now. It's ridiculous. But he had commented on something, and I don't necessarily look. I probably pay attention more to comments from people that are subscribed to the channel and have been around. And Stan would be one of those guys. So I was like, oh, let me read this whole comment here. And it was kind of like, oh, whoa, man. Like, these videos are way different. I don't, like, what's this all about? This is nuts. And I just realized that, like, things are coming along well. And I think that it's probably best that I just stick with the fan-funded. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Who cares? It's probably going to take a long time to get where we want to go, but it just feels like every time I deal with a company like that, it's just such a cluster of weirdness that, you know, Dennerley is probably the only company I've ever dealt with that was, like, straightforward of what they wanted to do, why they were doing it, that kind of stuff. And it was literally like, with me, they were like, we're going to sponsor you to come out here to film stuff going on in Germany. That's it. We want you to come check it out, film it, and put it up on your YouTube channel. We'll pay for the hotel and the airfare, which was awesome. I was like, dude, there you go. That's how, like, that makes sense. There was no, like, oh, hey, you have to do this or you have to do that or whatever or this or that or the other thing. They're probably the only company that was super straightforward about what they wanted to do, what was going on. And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. And that's, you know, it's what I'm all about. Like, I've talked to people, like, I don't want the money necessarily. Like, I don't want the money from the airfare or any of that kind of crap. Like, I don't want that. I want to be able to, like, go to Germany and film your, like, I want to film your plant factory. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want to do, you know? So, you know, it's like that, the Green Aqua video that I posted like a couple years ago, like, the whole reason I got to go to Green Aqua was because Dennerley sponsored us to come out to Germany. And then we drove, like, I drove with Chris Lukup and Corey. We drove from Germany to Hungary to go to Green Aqua. And we drove like one of Dennerley's cars. Like, we took one of their work cars from Dennerley to drive out there and drive back. So, I mean, it literally was like, man, that would have never happened if it wasn't for Dennerley. And that's, you know, to me, that's a kind of sponsorship stuff. That's the whole reason that I'm like, I would ever even talk about sponsorship and stuff. But because it's you guys, I like to talk about it. And just always kind of mention my gratitude and stuff. And it's Gratitude Friday. So let's update our YouTube members, which unfortunately we're going the wrong direction, guys. We've gone from 91 to 90 YouTube members, but hey, that's nothing. That's nothing to, like, not shake a stick. Can you shake a stick at it or whatever? I don't know. I'm grateful for the 90 YouTube members. That's, like, crazy. And I'm always excited about it. And that's why I post it up. Like, I posted up on here, man, because I'm proud of it. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of what we're doing. And I hope we get to just keep doing it, even though it takes a little bit longer than I think everybody would hope. Because it's Patreon Friday, let's update the Patreon. We've gone down to 245, but who, you know, it's probably just somebody having, you know, the COVID, man. Like, everybody's not doing that great because of COVID. You know what I mean? Let's see if there's we'd have to, let's go. Oh, they moved it. They moved the exit surveys over to here. Let's see if there's an exit survey. It says that my financial situation changed. Which, yeah, you know, that happens. And some people wanted to support some other creators. Coronavirus killed the job. You know, like, you know, the people that left, hey, it all makes sense. And hopefully things will turn around for people that, like, lost their job and stuff like that. Hopefully you come back and get a better job. And get a better job. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully when you come back from this COVID crisis, you have, like, a better job. Like, freshen up that resume if you happen to have a day at home or whatever. Freshen it up, send it out. See who's hiring in your area, in your line of work. You know what I'm saying? I was gonna say it couldn't hurt, but it could potentially hurt. I've definitely worked for a lot of people that were like super vindictive like that. I worked for a restaurant that found out that I talked to another restaurant owner and got like reprimanded. I guess reprimanded would be the nicest way to explain what happened in that situation. Did I ever figure out which of the carpeting plants you were going to try from that community coat? Community coat? I don't know what that means, James. Maybe retype the question or something. I don't know. Like, for whatever reason, it's not. There's no light bulb going off. Michael Allen says, when the auto industry opens back up, I'll be back to welding. Nice. Not bad. I love welding stuff. If I was better at it, I probably would consider just doing welding all the time. But I'm not that great at it. I'm just like, have hands and, can stand upright and I'm breathing and I can see and know what I'm supposed to be doing. James Leister, did I ever figure out what carpeting plants you're going to try from that? From the community vote. Yes, that tank is still sitting there. I have all of the hardscape ready to go. I need to take down the tank and put the tank together. I need to completely rescape that tank, and it's all ready to go. And I don't want to release the first portion of the video, the first video of the hardscape stuff, because then people will be like, well, where's that tank? Like where's that tank set up? And I'll be like, oh, it's not set up yet. So I have a bunch of video of doing all the hardscape and getting all that stuff ready. It's a 120-gallon tank. And yes, so I do have the vote count, and I will be going essentially in the direction that the vote, the winner of the vote, which I think the winner off the top of my head, I think was it was UG. I think is Ultracaria gramnifolia. Multiform? Is that what I'm thinking of here? Nope. That's not what I'm looking for. I need Ultracaria. ULTRICARIA. Gramnifolia. Fine, let's go over here because Google is being ridiculous. So I have one of the other Ultracarias, but I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I was trying to look it up real quick so I could tell you about it. What's related to Ultracaria gramnifolia? Let's see if we can get... I think it's, I can't remember it. I'd have to look up. I have to look it up. Like, I have it in my notes, but my notes aren't here right now. They're in the fish room. But, what is it called? I don't know. I bet you Bentley will remember. I bet you Bentley will remember. I can't remember. I'm having serious brain problems today. It's just not clicking for me. Which, I'm sorry to let you all down on a Friday, but it's been Groundhog's Day, and I only got about 3 hours of sleep last night because the baby has not been feeling great. Because there's so much pollen in the air, I think Mother Earth is trying to kill us with pollen, I think. I think that's what's trying to happen. Oh my God, you guys, I'm supposed to do the, hit that like button. Hit the like button. Right? Or I keep making dog noises into the mic. Is that a dog noise? Meow. I think. I don't know. Jeffrey Lay, a majority of the plants we use in the hobby do better in softer water or more acidic water, but there are, of course, exceptions. Yes, that's a good point, Bentley. Let's see. Have you noticed any of your plants do better with soft versus hard water, i.e., high or low GH or KH. The reality is that like most plants that grow well underwater, almost all of them, will do better in a low. You're talking like 6.4 to 6.8 pH, so nothing crazy low or anything like that. KH and GH, you're gonna have to kind of like move those around depending on what plants you have, but I wouldn't stress out about it too much unless you have shrimp and things like that. As long as you have clean water coming in, you got a pH that's reasonable. Most every plant is going to be fairly happy and continue to grow and do well. Where is it? I'm trying to remember which Ultracaria it is. It's Ultracaria. I don't think it's it's not Sandersonii, because Sandersonii is above water. Yeah, I can't think of what it is. And all my like related posts aren't correct. But regardless, I've been growing it for a couple months now, and maybe a little bit less than a couple months, but I've been growing it, working with it, and making notes and stuff. So I will do a species spotlight on it whenever I get around to that. What am I calling those videos? They're like plant profiles. I guess a species spotlight isn't a great term to call it, but they're kind of like plant profiles. I'm trying to give people a quick video that gives you some ideas of how to deal with it. Ah, God, what's wrong with my elbow? Oh, I cut my elbow open the other day, and I just jabbed it on my knee. It was weird. Yeah, okay. Man, I tell you, weekday. Man, I'll tell you, weekday, this pollen from these oak trees are killing me. I might as well wear a mask just because of that. Yeah. The pollen right now is out of control. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what it is. Like, it's just something exceptional about this year's pollen. It's rolling. I don't understand it. I'm getting okay, stop doing that. Let's see. Dave's Aquarium says, but the Pleiades love the liquid rock. Yeah, Pleiades, guppies, that kind of stuff. I definitely have to add a lot of crushed coral and things. I still do have 2 of the guppies. All the other ones, for some reason, just disappeared. But, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out what the problem is. I'm not sure what it is. As of like a week ago when I was testing again to try and figure out what the hell was going on with the water there. I don't know what it is, man. I've got no ammonia. The tank is definitely cycled. I've got nothing weird going on with the water. Everything is just legit where it should be. I don't know what it is that killed him, and I'm thinking what it might be was just flow versus males and females, because it seemed like the females are getting like really heavily harassed. So I think if I get guppies in again, I'm going to try and do, multiple females to every male. I think that's what I'm going to try. And that's probably going to be the best bet that I could do at this point. I think that's kind of the best thing that I can come up with. Let's see what we got. Alyssa is the truest member of Team Bentley. She has the last name. I'm just named after the car. I didn't realize that Bentley was named after the car. That is funny. That's totally funny. Chevy Fish, geez, I just got notified. If you are having problems getting notifications off this channel, go to my main page, the main YouTube landing page of my channel. What the hell? Go there. You got to click the bell, click notifications, all notifications. You have to turn it on. And then also make sure that you're getting notifications on your phone. I had a bunch of people that were super pissed off at me because they're like, I'm not getting notifications from your channel. And it's like, do you have notifications turned on your phone? Like, you have to allow your phone to get notifications from YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, no, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't invent the technology. I'm just here working with it, doing the best I can, you know? Like, and if you don't have your notifications turned on, I don't know what else to do for people other than that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't come over to your house and, like, mess around with your computer. I can't even go anywhere right now because we're on this coronavirus lockdown, you know? So, I don't know. I don't know what the expectation is with people that, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll hold somebody's hand. I'll be like, I'm gonna hold your hand. Push this button over here. Push it. You know? I don't know. Sorry, just expressing some of my frustration of people yelling at me via the internet. It was kind of weird. But I blocked them because I'm done. That's basically what it boils down to. And I know that, like, there's some people out there that are like, don't ever block anybody ever, da-da-da-da-da nonsense. And, you know, like, one of the creators I follow was talking about that the other day. He's like, I never block anybody. You know, it's not something I would do, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't have time for this nonsense. So I'm like, you know, that's just how it goes. Yeah. That's life, you know, just being old. You know, just be an old guy and just go like, man, I don't want to deal with you anymore. Get off my lawn. Yeah. Chevy Fish says everything is checked and dinged and turned on. It's the YouTube slowness. Yeah, that might be it. That might be what's going on now because everybody's at home. Although, you know, people that are members, people that are members on YouTube, they're Patreon members, you get access to our Discord, and I do almost 100% of the time post up into the Discord. You know, like today I went live at 11, but I posted the event at 9:30. So you had like an hour and a half of like, oh, maybe I want to check that out or not. Yeah. So that's the best I can do, you know. I don't know. I guess I could like blast it out on Facebook or something like that, like people do, but I don't know. It feels like I've been doing this so long that like self-promotion, I'm like, nah, screw it. I don't care. You know? And maybe that's the wrong thing to do. But you know, like I said earlier, we got a lot of people supporting the show, and I'm happy to just keep doing it. Now, speaking of support for the show, I know I was talking about this the other day. People may or may not be interested at all. You might be completely disinterested. If so, don't worry. This little portion of the show will be pretty short. I'm just excited. I've got ants in my pants, and they're making me do the boogie dance. You know what I'm saying? After years of making YouTube videos, and Stan bringing up to me the other day just how terrible some of my old content is, I was appreciative of how far I've come and where I'm headed. And today is the day where I should probably mark it down on my calendar. It's kind of a big day as far as things go for me creating stuff and the creative process and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, people might not be that excited about it, but hopefully you're just excited about just another step in the process. Today we will be receiving what I'm going to call a forever lens. It's like a forever camera lens. This is going to be a camera lens that I will probably have for the next 30 years, I would guess. This is probably going to be a camera lens that I will always own it. I will probably never sell it. There probably won't be really any reason for me to ever sell it. And it will be arriving today, and it was a monumental amount of saving and a monumental amount of kind of swiping the credit card on faith that things are just going to continue to work out, right? So this lens is the Canon RF 15-35, and I am very excited that it's coming today. If you guys know, it's basically a $2,300 lens before taxes. So it's like a $2,500 lens, which, by the way, in the world of cinema, like filmmaking and stuff, like the stuff you watch on Discovery Channel, right? That's nothing. They would be like, what? That thing must be trash, right? Because, like, the new cinema lens that just came out is $30,000. Which, by the way, I want to rent that lens someday just so I can have said that I used it. I don't know if any rental place around here will ever have it, but I would love to rent that thing for a day and just cruise around like, whoa, you know. But the damn thing was like $2,500. I had $600 in credit. I bought a refurbished one because it was a damaged box. The box got damaged in shipping, so they had to basically take it out, inspect it, make sure it was good, put it back in, and put it in a new box. So that was an extra $300 off, and the rest just went onto the credit card, and I was like, let's do this. I'm just going for it. So it's just a reality, like MD Fish Tank says, wow, maybe I should upgrade from my phone. I mean, maybe not. Your phone's working for you, dude. Like he's really successful. He's doing fantastic. So some people like to use their phone. My goal, my long-term goal is to be running a small documentary team where we'll be able to produce content for not necessarily like the big screen, but I would like to be, it's hard to say that like, oh, I'd like to be like the Discovery Channel or something like that, but something, similar to that quality. I could use that as an example because they're pretty well known. It's not like I'm talking about some weird niche thing that doesn't exist, but like, if I was to talk about a specific show on Netflix, there'll be a lot of people that are like, huh? I don't understand. But that's my long-term goal of where I'd like to be at production-wise. And this really feels like an honest step in that direction for me. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like a real big step, and we shall see how it goes. We shall see how it goes. Like MD was saying that, there's a lot of people out there that are just making stuff with their cell phones. Cell phones are awesome these days. You could definitely do that if you're somebody that's starting out. It doesn't really matter. Just get a microphone and a cell phone, and you're good to go. Just get a lapel mic and a small shotgun mic. Easy. So that's kind of the thing. Like MD says, my goal is to open a freshwater center for education with government funding, so the entry fee is minimal. In the UK, that's probably a lot more possible. I think that's something that you could probably do. It's probably something that you could possibly do in the UK. It might be like more accessible to you, like in how the governmental stuff is structured in the UK. I don't know about here, but my kind of thought process has been that, the YouTube channel is sort of the way to have the entry fee be zero, right? So the entry fee is kind of zero. And it's one of the reasons like I like to do this really long format stuff, is to be able to kind of talk about things and have things go on and work through things and make it like not so strange that people would be like, oh, I could have a thing going on in the background for an hour and a half or 2 hours that will evolve and continue to evolve. Like I have another camera that's it's off camera. I wonder if I can, hold on, let me see. Hey. Oh, hold on, that's plugged in. Let me see. Let me see if I can pull it over here now. Whoa. So I have another camera that's rigged up right over here. It's rigged up from up on the wall up there. So that at some point in time, and I'll have to remember to plug that back in. But at some point in time, as I kind of add to the space here, I kind of build out the I don't know what's the word I'm looking for there. As we kind of like build out the ecology of the show and the channel and the stuff that I'm continuing to do, I would like to have the show have multiple people on it. We'll have multiple people over time, and just be ready to engage like with a lot more people that could be educational and in an educational format. I hear the dog barking. I think that's the lens landing on the porch right now. It sounded like it was going to be here right around noon. So the that's kind of like my long-term goal. Like the long-term goal would be to like film more stuff out on locations, like at, for instance, Tropica and that kind of stuff. Build out tanks, have tank builders record it. There we go. That's what I'm trying to talk about. There we go. Trying to have like tank builders record what's going on. Green Aqua is doing a fantastic kind of version of some of the stuff I want to do, but I don't ever want to have a store involved. I don't ever want to be selling stuff to people or that kind of stuff. Which is kind of the thing with Green Aqua, is that they're a store. They're a store first and foremost, and that kind of stuff. And Hotea's asking, what kind of documentary do you want to do? There's a lot of documentaries that I want to do, so it'd be really difficult to explain it, but I want to just keep being able to do them on a regular basis. Mikey Fishy with a $100 super chat. Holy crap, I wonder how long that's going to stay up there. Thank you very much, buddy. That is very generous. That is very generous, that's for sure, man. Thank you, bud. It says, for the lens fund, told you on Discord, challenge accepted. Enjoy it. You deserve it. I mean, I don't know if I'm deserving of anything, but it has taken quite a while of savings. It's taken quite a while of Amazon affiliate money. So people were wondering, like, what do I do with the Amazon affiliate money? Like, I've never spent, to the best of my knowledge, I've never spent directly any of the Amazon affiliate money on stuff that's just for me. Like, I haven't like been buying sandwiches or whatever with it. You know what I'm saying? I literally put it all right back into just production stuff. So, streamlining things, making audio better, changing audio, being able to get an interface that can take 4 microphones all at the same time. Then, of course, like buying 4 microphones. Then, of course, like, 4 microphone arms that can actually hold the microphone. So it's just stuff like that has been ongoing for quite a few years now. But, I'm going to be honest, like, I wish I had like the kind of idea and vision in my head of what I wanted to do like 12 years ago. This really only kind of came to be like 3.5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, something like that. I really started going like, wait a minute, this is what I want to, I want to like go down on this road. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the road that I want to go down. This is what I kind of want to do. And obviously this isn't the only thing I do. So, I have to work my job. I have to work my other jobs. And, so it has kind of taken like a little bit longer than I had hoped or whatever, but I don't care about all that, man. I just really enjoy like the process of sucking and then getting better. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. Michael Allen, Green Aqua is nice, but they made a budget build that only cost $1,100 for a 15-gallon aquarium. Those guys are great and everything. But I think like some of their prices and stuff like that would boggle the mind sometimes. Because, when I was there in person, literally, like some of the tanks we were talking about, like, how much does this cost? Like, $8,000 for this tank and stand, and that's it. And you still got to buy all the other stuff. And you're like, oh, and then that's another, then it's another $2,000 in lights and, just all this stuff. So, yeah, I mean, my 120-gallon tanks cost about $1,000 a piece. Of course, I built the stands and all that stuff and did all the plumbing and all that kind of crap myself. But, it took a long time to save up for those too, just like this camera lens. But it is what it is. MD says, I feel you, but the way I see it, the more extra money I can make from it on top of the government funding, the more awesome I can make the center. I'm talking like 10 years down the line. Yeah. I mean, I 100% see where you're coming from with like building a center like that. I think realistically what I'm going to end up doing is we're probably going to end up selling this property that we live in right now, relocating somewhere else that has more land, and we'll probably end up, just putting up a small building, which, the equity from this house and that kind of stuff will hopefully pay for all that. And you guys will just get to see the content of like, oh, how the hell do you build that? Because, I realistically want to get better at filming some of the building projects and remodeling projects. I would love to do a cooking channel. I'd love to do a gardening channel. See, I'd love to do all that stuff. There's just only so much time in the in the work, in the day to be able to kind of do all that stuff. Michael Allen says, "Yeah, we broke here in Missouri." I was actually looking at a property yesterday in Missouri. Let me see. Missouri's not off the table. There are some good spots. There are some good spots out in Missouri. I had a good time the last time I was out in Missouri. It was like 3 years ago, and I really doubt it's changed that much. That's not it. Hold on. I don't know. Since when does this not go? If you click the button, it doesn't go back a page anymore. I don't know why. Oh, yeah. I found this house in Rogersville, Missouri, which probably is like a schwanky part of Missouri. Totally funny. I saved this property because I'm going to send it to my mom as a joke. I'm going to tell her that we're moving here. So this place is $1.5 million US in America, because that's how you buy stuff in America, is with American money, right? You can do the conversion if you're in another country. It is 6 bedrooms. Oh, let me close this. 6 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, 10,500 square foot house. It's so gaudy and ridiculous. So every bedroom in this ridiculous house has its own ensuite bathroom. If you know what that is, that means it's a full bathroom, like a full big old bathtub, sink, shower, toilet, bidet, like every room in this place has an ensuite bath. It's ridiculous. It's totally it's like a hot tub that runs into a pool. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it was the funniest thing. I was just gonna send it to my mom because I was laughing so hard at this thing. Because my mom was an ER charge nurse forever, and she married a guy 20 no, she married a fella 16 years ago, something like that. I don't know. 16 years ago, I think I was like 23 or something, 24, something like that. Yeah. At their wedding. And but he runs a construction company. It'd be dumb to say that they flip houses, but that's kind of like the real cheap and easy way of explaining it. But they strip the whole entire house and redo everything. So it's not really like, they're not really like air quote flipping houses. They really take it down to the bones and rebuild the house and save whatever cool stuff from the houses there. So it's probably like a better quality version of like the Chip and Joanna Gaines, what that show is called, whatever that show is called. I don't know I can't remember what that show is called, but they do like a higher quality version of that, which takes a much longer period of time. And they do most of the sweat equity themselves and all that kind of stuff. Although, they have like electricians and people that come do stuff too. So, but that's what they do. So I like to send these goofy properties to my mom of like, oh, what do you think? Because I do occasionally look around at stuff in Washington State, because just an extra pair of eyes looking at properties and stuff in Washington is helpful to them sometimes. And it's also helpful to Vicky and I, because like I said, we bought this house with the intention to resell it after a couple of years, because the property value was going to skyrocket in this area by every measure that we could figure. Like all of our brain thinkings and stuff was like, this seems like the area. This is where we should be at. This is our price point. This is what we should do. And so far, we've been correct in that. Now, there's a pandemic, so who knows what the hell's going to happen. But so far, we've been correct. So we hopefully do plan on selling this property at some point in time and moving to something with more land would be the best way to explain that. It's not really like, oh, hey, we want to move to a certain part of the world, but it's looking more and more like we're probably going to end up staying in Washington, but we're probably going to move to the other side of the mountains. Likely, but who knows? Mikey's asking, does he only use shiplap? Well, they do. You gotta understand that shiplap is a trend right now, and if you're reselling a house, you should probably stay with some of the design trends that are happening. And shiplap does come up, and I did give him crap about the last house they did, because there's a shiplap wall in there, and my mom was all super stoked about it, like, oh, look how cool this wall is, and Brad was like, yep. Because I think it was, so all of the wood on it was, it's not barn wood, so they rebuilt a house from 1890 or something, 1893 or something ridiculous like that. I think it was like 1893 or something, and they had to redo a bunch of foundation and like change out some stuff. So they saved all of the wood from that, and then ran it through a planer and ripped it down to size to make it into shiplap. And Brad was kind of like, "Yeah, that's a lot of work for." And I was like, "Yeah, that is a lot of work for a shiplap wall." Excuse me, the pollen is getting me. Joel G's got me in bed with him on the pillow. Oh, I like it. Yeah. Well, keep me on the pillow, man. I don't want to be down by the feet of the bed. That's no good. Michael Allen says Rogersville has a huge Amish community that does awesome construction and carpentry work. Yeah, when we were out in Missouri, I definitely went around to look at some of the Shaker churches and stuff like that were out there, and some amazing construction out in Missouri, that's for sure. It was like one of the coolest parts of being out there. And Kentucky, too. Same kind of thing in Kentucky. Okay, I think we're caught up. Let's go to our couple of Patreon posts of the week. I think Patreon's kind of slowed down because this whole pandemic thing, I think, has got people just kind of exhausted. Let's be honest. People are pretty exhausted from this whole pandemic, and I would include myself as a people that getting kind of tired of it. I don't know how many more months this is going to go on for, but supposedly our lockdown is until May the 4th, which is 10 days from now, and we shall see. We shall see. I don't know. But this comes all the way from Schweden, from our guy Rumbust. Thank you for chiming in, my guy. He says, and we're live. Working from home has its perks. Caring for angelfish fry, super red bristlenose fry, and pygmy Cory eggs right now. The corridors might have spawned before, but this time I was here to save the eggs from the guppies and move the guppies to another tank. Yeah, that's like that's almost like 100% one of the issues of like spawning fish with other fish. They end up eating each other, or the eggs, or the babies, or whatever, like they just end up getting eaten. And it's kind of one of the reasons why, if you look around at any of the fish breeders out there and stuff like that, you will notice they have lots of tanks that generally don't have a lot of stuff in them. It's normally like a sponge filter running off of air with some chunks, maybe like PVC chunks in there, and maybe a spawning mop, and that's pretty much it. And the reasons for that: other fish will eat other fish. It's all the competition. Other fish will eat other fish eggs. It's competition, and they think it's food, and it's edible, so they eat it. Pretty much the same thing with shrimp, but I'm a big fan of breeding shrimp colonies with some fish, not obviously big aggressive fish. Like, you don't want to put them in with some African cichlids or something, like you don't want to do that, because your shrimp will all be gone overnight, or probably just even during the day. But I do like breeding some of my shrimp with some other fish, like plecos or something like that. It just kind of helps. It just kind of helps out with essentially breeding like some really high quality shrimp and fish, but there's also the downside. You're not going to get as many, you know what I'm saying? So, but crystal shrimp, I guess, is probably not the greatest to do that. You want to do it with like chili rasboras or some small fish that are just kind of building the ecosystem more than anything. Chevy fish, we just got notified ours extended until May 31st, which is, it's hard to hear. I don't know if that's going to happen here. We shall see. I don't know what's going to happen. It's not good, though. Michael Allen says it helps keep a tank cycled. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like kind of really just helps keep the ecology of the tank going. And the ecosystem is what we want. And generally speaking, the ecosystem is what allows your colonies to continue doing well. You want to keep the tank running like a small ecosystem, That's kind of what I was getting at. Tales from the Man Cave has posted this, and boy howdy, how many times have I been down this road? Ultracarya graminifolia, UG, man. I don't know how this plant survives out in the wild on its own. First, it's finicky as hell to get it to grow instead of melting away, and then it decides that roots are just for beginners. I mean, why would any plant need roots? Maybe to anchor itself to the ground? Nah, UG don't need any of that. You just give up. I will tell you, I've had a lot of fun growing UG over the years. It's a cool, weird plant. And I've had a good time growing it personally. But I've had this specific interaction, numerous occasions. This has happened to me specifically where I'm like, oh, let me go just kind of clear up this edge right around over here. Boop, doop, 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 doop. Oh, there's some that's poking up. Let me just grab that. And there's a little bit that's poking up. And then next thing you know, I've got the whole carpet up in the air like this. And it is a nightmare to try and plant this thing back into the substrate. Is a nightmare. It's a total nightmare to try and get it to go back into the substrate once you get it out like this. My best advice would be to cut this into clumps and replant the clumps. It's the only thing that you could really do realistically. I've never been able to figure out a better way of recovering from this in my Planet Aquarium life. I've tried all sorts of stuff. I've tried putting a weight on it. tried stuffing the whole thing back in, and it just doesn't work. Get a good pair of scissors, cut it up into clumps, replant it, and let it grow in again. But, you know, UG is like, how do you say it? I'll just say dwarf baby tears. It's a lot easier for people to know what dwarf baby tears are. HC. It's on that similar vein. It has that really cool coloring, and the carpet is way impressive once it's grown in. It just has a pop to it that not many plants do. So there really isn't a way to honestly like replicate it to a point that or replicate that look, right? That feel, that vibe. Like you're not going to be able to get that from a lot of other plants. So, you know, we are just kind of limited to whatever's going to have that bright green carpet, you know, like it. And unfortunately, they are basically all plants that are finicky or a mess or something goofy like this. And it would be cool if the earth would just sprout something that was easier to deal with. You know, I mean, like, come on, Mama Nature, where are you? We got this post also from Tales from the Man Cave. So this is something you guys might want to stop in and throw a comment on because he is asking for a little bit of help in this. In that he's saying, I'm not sure what to do with this tank. I set it up 6 months ago with a vision of something great, but it has been haunted by blackbeard algae, which I can totally relate to that for sure, from the start, but I could never eliminate it completely. And to me, it looks like an unstructured mess. What do you guys think? Keep it, change it, or rescape it? So I would appreciate if you guys spin by and let them know. You know, I don't even think you have to be a Patreon or anything like that. So, but you know, spin by, give them a little poke and a prod, and let them know what's up. I think personally, I think I land in the rescape it, and not because I think that there's necessarily anything wrong with it. It's getting to that point where it's going to get overgrown, though, and I feel like after 6 months, I've definitely got my own personal enjoyment out of a tank, so I would almost think to just change it just because of that. Like, I almost feel like it's just time to rescape it because, you know, you've been looking at it for 6 months. You're probably tired of it just because, you know, you've looked at it every day for 200 days in a row. It's probably just time to change it. And that's honestly one of the best parts of doing aquascaping is like, oh, I can just change it up, go for a whole different vibe, and be vibing on a whole new vibe. Vibes. Yes. Vibes. All right. Well, our Patreon posts of the day were just those three. So moving right along. Let's see what we got in the chat and see what's happening. Elijah Gordon just showed up. And I don't know how to read. I almost called you Eli. Not that great. Joel G says, damn, it's distressing for you, or are you happy enough locked up? I mean, personally, I'm happy enough being locked up. It's just become stressful to do the baby and do all of our jobs and do everything from the house here. But also at the same time, like, I'm glad that I have a ton of stuff to do. I'm glad that we're keeping busy, but it's a weird double-headed coin that is bizarro. So it would be cool if, I think on my own personal level, it would be great if there was some kind of therapy that was proven to be successful at this point. I mean, that would be incredibly helpful at this point if they came out with a therapy that actually worked. But I know that everybody is working as diligently as possible on it. So it's not a matter of like, man, just release it, you know. It's not that matter. It's a matter of them, studying and finding something that's effective. It's a brand new virus. And I think, after a month and a half or whatever of us dealing with it and constantly, hearing the news and hearing the medical reports and hearing the deaths and hearing all the survivors and all that stuff, it's it's just been a lot of news in our face for the last 2 months about. Yeah, I guess it's been like 2 months, huh? So it's April, so yeah, like February, and of course here in Washington, it's been on for like 3 months. So Jeffrey Lay says, any specific biological media you would recommend for a shrimp and planted tank? There's so many types of media out there, and Johan and I were really trying to get to the bottom of, we were trying to get to the bottom of like what media works the best. And I think like the reality is like any kind of rock that doesn't break down and leach stuff into your water that is porous, that allows there to be more surface area is fine. The Chinese produced ceramic biorings. They work fine. Bacteria will grow on those, and they work great. I got some Seachem Matrix in a while ago. That just seems just as crappy as always. I mean, it's a porous, nice pumice stone. And by the way, to people out there that have always told me, like, there's no way you can get nice porous pumice stone at the rock yard, you have to specifically get the right kind of pumice, but you can definitely get it from a rock yard. It's the same stuff that Seachem uses. They're harvesting it from the wild, just like the other kinds. You have to just find the specific pumice that they're using. So if you ask for like generic pumice, you're going to get perlite, which is not pumice at all. Chevy Fish, I kept super busy with my kids. I keep super busy, but with my kids, we are going crazy. No one is working, and the financial part is choking. Yeah, that's kind of the big thing. That's kind of one of the big deals that's going on with a lot of the families and stuff like that out here in the U.S. Like a lot of people are struggling with the financial side of things. I would just, honestly, my recommendation for people that are struggling with the financial stuff is like the financial stuff will work out. Talk to the people that you have any kind of monetary thing set up with them. Like maybe you have a landlord or you have a bank that you have a mortgage with or whatnot, and discuss with them whatever kind of plan you could enact to make sure that that's not out of control so you don't lose the roof over your head. Almost every electric company, water company, garbage company, even my internet service provider sent me an email that was like, hey, we don't want to shut off anybody's service if there's something going on. We're not charging late fees. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. So there is a lot out there. Just communicate with the people you need to communicate, and you probably can work through a lot of that stuff. If you really are at the point where you don't have groceries and stuff, communicate. Like, if you're watching this and you're hearing my recommendation, you could probably reach out to people on Facebook or something like that, and people are definitely going to help out. So yeah, but the thing with work and the kids and being here all the time, like Olivia's here always. So like yesterday I was slated to get a couple hours of work done, and it was during Olivia's nap time, and that didn't happen. And Vicky got tied up with her work stuff because she was like, putting out work fires all morning and got stuck doing that. So I couldn't do as much stuff in the morning, and so everything got pushed in the afternoon, then it gets pushed to the evening, and then it's like, I just need to get stuff done. But it, that's reality. Can be angry about it, which I'm not. It's just tiring. I'm just feeling like we're in that Groundhog Day madness out here. Holy crap, Mikey Fishy's super chat is still up there. It's been a while, man. I don't know how long it's been up there, but it's been up there for a while. I wonder how much $100 super chat. It definitely inspires people to not super chat. I've actually noticed that. I know I saw somebody's Somebody's who forgot whose live stream it was. Somebody had a live stream the other day, and they had like a $200 super chat up there, and like no one else was super chatting, and I kind of realized like, oh, that one's just like crushing people from 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 chatting, and I don't know. That's fine. I don't expect it. I was just looking through because I'm like, oh, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. How long has that thing been up there? It said 1 hour. Okay. So yeah, I guess that thing will hang around up there for an hour. No, I'm not. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound like I was being depressed. This or that or the other thing. See, like 20 people just left. Oh, I must have pissed people off by talking about super chats. Oh, drag, poop. Anyhow. Zen Ginger with a $2 hey you little pair. Yeah. I just thought it was funny. I just was looking through to go give a shout out to any of the super chats, and there was just one sitting there. So, either way. But the Zen Ginger, thank you too. Fish Eye and Tactics had to go. Let's see. Let me scroll through the chat here. Oh, Joe Rogan has Tom Green on. Yep, Joel G was right. I just got the notification for it. It's probably pretty funny, I will admit. I heard that Tom Green is... Tom Green's putting his home studio back together again, which... mad respect to Tom Green for a lot of the stuff that he was doing early on with the internet live streaming and shows and stuff like that. Mad props to that guy. All right, guys. It feels like we don't have a ton of questions or much to talk about, so I think we will call it for the day. 44 likes. Seems pretty low for a Friday, but that's all right. Big thank you to Mikey Fishy and Zen Ginger for your super chats of the day. Very much appreciate it. Very much appreciate it. $2 is just wild. $100 is just wild. But yeah, I want to say thanks to everybody coming out and chatting and doing all the stuff to come out to a live stream. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you had fun. Maybe you share this out with somebody. Maybe you don't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. I will talk to you all on the other side of whatever the other